Today we're ranking every major live-action Spider-Man villain. Raimi trilogy, Amazing Spider-Man, MCU, all of it. From S-tier icons to D-tier. Let's open with the one I think about the most. Sure, the movies give him a motivation. Norman gets pushed out of Oscorp by the board, he takes the Goblin serum, he wants revenge. But strip that away and watch what he actually does on screen. He's not calculated, he's not strategic. He's a guy who genuinely just wants to watch the world burn. Joker in Dark Knight energy, years before Ledger made it iconic. And No Way Home confirms it. Multiverse, different backstory beats, doesn't matter. Willem Dafoe slips back into that role and it's still pure id. Still chaos for chaos's sake. Here's the part that actually seals it though. The psychological damage he does to Spider-Man himself. Both of them. Tobey's Peter watches him kill Aunt May. Tom's Peter almost breaks his one unbreakable rule, no killing, because of what Green Goblin represents. That's not a villain who just fights Spider-Man. That's a villain who nearly rewrites who Spider-Man is. S-tier. Otto starts as a good guy, genuinely. A scientist trying to develop clean fusion energy from tritium. Then the experiment fails. He loses his funding, loses his standing. Very vanilla, very standard fallen genius setup. Then the arms fuse to his spine. The inhibitor chip fries, and he gets corrupted by his own creation. And once that happens, he does throw a car at a photographer. He does kidnap Aunt May, genuinely menacing in the moment. But outside of a couple of iconic set pieces, he doesn't do much that's lastingly impactful until his brief reappearance in No Way Home years later. Might be some bias talking after the Insomniac game, but judging the movie on its own, B-tier Harry as the new Goblin is really a sub-villain riding on his father's coattails. He's driven purely by revenge against Spider-Man for Norman's death, and later gets nudged toward redemption once Peter finally tells him the truth. The core problem. This entire arc, villain turn and redemption turn, gets crammed into roughly half a movie that's already splitting its attention between Sandman and Venom. There's a good character in here, but he never gets the room to actually develop. Too short to earn either the villainy or the sacrifice. B-tier. You cannot tell a complete Spider-Man story without a Venom arc. Full stop. What makes the symbiote so good as a villain isn't the teeth or the tongue or any of the surface level cool factor. It's what it represents. Corruption that feels good going down. It amplifies whoever wears it. When Peter wears it, we watch this quiet, mild kid turn into someone cocky, aggressive, dancing through the streets unrecognizable. That's not just a costume change, that's Peter's arc accelerating in real time. And then, when the symbiote finds Eddie Brock, someone already broken, already resentful, already hating Peter specifically, it becomes something Spider-Man genuinely cannot outpower, not outsmart, not outpunch. Venom doesn't go down easy, and that's rare for a Spider-Man villain. S-tier. Sandman's story genuinely made me sad. This is a guy who just wants to see his sick daughter, who ends up in the wrong place at the wrong time, and gets a legitimate, sympathetic reason to spiral into villainy. It's one of the more earned, tragic villain arcs in the whole franchise. The problem is execution. Spider-Man 3 is juggling 3 villains at once, and Sandman's depiction ends up feeling weightless. A guy made of literal sand should feel unstoppable, and instead feels like a subplot. Great arc on paper, undercooked impact on screen. B-tier. On paper, Kurt Connors has the same tragic scientist DNA as Otto Octavius, a brilliant researcher chasing regeneration to save people, including himself, who gets consumed by his own breakthrough. That's a good foundation. The problem is everything after the transformation. Once he becomes the Lizard, the character stops being a person with a goal and turns into a generic CGI monster shouting about a world of lizards. The tragedy that made him interesting gets buried under citywide monster plan nonsense, and his redemption at the end feels rushed rather than earned. Good bones, forgettable execution. C-tier. What's a better arc than biggest superfan turns into the villain who hates his hero the most? On paper, Electro has maybe the saddest, loneliest origin story on this entire list. An invisible man who finally gets noticed, briefly feels like a hero, and then gets erased and hunted by the very person he idolized. The tragedy is that it's handled clumsily both times he's shown up. Amazing Spider-Man 2 buries him under too much plot and too much makeup blue CGI spectacle. No Way Home brings him back mostly for multiverse fan service rather than closure. The idea is genuinely one of the best in the franchise. The execution never catches up to it. C tier. Different actor, different movie. Worth separating from Raimi's version because the motivation actually lands. This Harry isn't just angry, he's dying, desperate for the cure only Spider-Man's blood can supposedly provide. And he watches his best friend refuse to help him fast enough. That betrayal curdles into the Green Goblin persona, and it directly leads to the death of Gwen Stacy, arguably the single most consequential death in the Amazing Spider-Man timeline. That's genuinely dark, high-stakes material, but the movie rushes the transformation so hard that Harry goes from sick friend to full supervillain in what feels like 20 minutes of screen time. The consequence of what he does is massive. The build-up to him doing it is not. C tier. What happens when a high school kid accidentally goes toe-to-toe with his girlfriend's dad? You get Homecoming. And honestly, I don't think Vulture was used to his full potential. Here's what makes him different from almost everyone else on this list. He doesn't hate Spider-Man. He's not chasing revenge. He's not spiraling from grief. He's a working-class guy who got squeezed out of a government contract by Tony Stark's bureaucracy and just wants his business, his crew, his family's livelihood to survive. That's such a grounded, refreshingly un-comic book motivation for a superhero movie. But because the movie is committed to being a low-stakes coming-of-age story, Vulture never gets to fully cut loose. The scariest thing about him ends up being one car scene, not the actual fights. Great actor, great idea, capped potential. B tier. Judging this purely on Far From Home, this might be the smartest villain in the entire MCU, not just Spider-Man's corner of it. Think about his motivation. This is a man who built his life's work, years of illusion tech, years of genius, and watched Tony Stark's PR machine reduce it to a 10-minute therapy session gag called barf. If I put my best work into the world and it got named that and dismissed that fast, I might go down the exact same path. And what does he actually do with that grudge? He doesn't just fight Spider-Man, he humiliates him, terrifies him, runs him over with an actual train inside an illusion, and then, even after dying, he wins. Because the doctored video he leaves behind convinces the entire world Spider-Man is the villain and Mysterio died a hero. To everyone in that universe, Mysterio still is the good guy. That's not a fight he lost, that's a legacy he secured. Master illusionist, insane final move, and yeah, I'll say it, Gyllenhaal has had main character energy since Donnie Darko. A tier. Spoiler territory, and a lot of people won't even count her as a villain since she starts out just looking for her sister, but let's be honest about what she actually does. She takes control of innocent people's minds, puts lives in danger without hesitation, and, worst of all, pulls an obsession-level possession on MJ, where she poses as MJ, acts through her, and kisses Peter while wearing her face. That is one of the more unsettling things I've seen in a Spider-Man movie. But here's my real issue, and it's bigger than just this crossover. Marvel has a pattern of resolving its most powerful villains the exact same way. Go inside the mind, have an emotional conversation, problem solved. Thunderbolts did it with Void. This does it with Jean. It's a resolution I don't find satisfying no matter how many times they use it, and it caps what could have been a genuinely terrifying threat. C tier.